All right, hello, this is Ron with Sandcar Services, and this is actually a follow-up video to one I think I posted last year. But I figured it would only be right if I show you the opposite end of the spectrum. So I made some comments about I prep my CVs a little bit different than most people do. Under 500 horsepower at the wheels. I don't personally like 50-50 Bel-Ray mixture. I think it's too dry. That's my personal preference. I grew up prepping race cars, Formula Atlantic cars, Formula Ford cars, off-road cars, and I have a way of doing it. Don't necessarily want to show all my secrets, but I think it's only fair that since I said what I don't like, that I show you what the outcome is of the way I do it, if that makes any sense. So this is Mario's CV shafts. Mario brought these in and I'm working on them today. He dropped them off with me and I told him I'd prep them in between jobs. So it's a 934 shaft. Mario did a really good job of marking which side they were on and what direction they went, so I'm going to leave those alone. I've got all the grease cleaned off. But what we have here is, this is a CV, 934 CV, that I greased for him sometime last year before the season started. And he went all year, multiple trips, just like all the rest of us do, and this is what I've pulled out. So you've probably heard me say in the past that some of the balls are way too dry when you run a 50-50 formula. In racing, 50-50 Bel-Ray, and this is my opinion, people are going to argue this until the end of the earth, but in my opinion, the 50-50 Bel-Ray with Swepco grease, if you're not pulling your CVs apart on a regular basis, the formula gets too dry and you end up with premature clicking, you end up with premature wear, and you just end up with not enough grease. You have to keep going in and grease your joints all the time. So I will tell you the secret to my what I use under 500 horsepower at the rear wheels, whether it's a 930 or a 934. And this can go up to 600 horsepower, but above 600 horsepower, I do the 50-50 split because you kind of have to. But for the lower horsepower cars, which is where my car ranks in at, this is what I do for my CV prep. Now, these are not mine. Once again, I said these are Mario's. But this shows you how much grease is still on everything. And all I did was wipe everything down with blue towels to get all the big nasty grease out of it. Obviously you can still see there's grease inside the CV boot. So let me come back out here and we will swing around. I'm in the mobile truck today because this is an empty vise for me. The stars are in really good condition. No pitting, no abnormal wear, no denting. The outer case, the outer housing for the CV is in good shape, and I ran a polisher through it just to smooth it out, but it didn't have any craters in it, so that's a good sign. The cage is in really good condition, so we don't have to do anything with that. And then I always check my bearings to make sure that the bearings are not smashed, which usually you can tell by the way these are worn, whether or not the actual CV balls are egg-shaped. But if you try to roll them down this trough when they're egg-shaped, you know they're bent or they're worn. And then I clean all the grease to the best I can out of the boots because the boots are going to be reused. And then I use Swepco 164 open gear. This already has some Bel-Ray mixed in it from what I understand, but I also, one of the things I do is I take Bel-Ray, that's actually 164, my Bel-Ray probably fell on the ground somewhere, but I have a tube like that with a caulking gun of Bel-Ray, and what I do is I wipe it in here 100% around all of the wear areas on both sides, here, and then I assemble the CV. So the CV is assembled with 100% Bel-Ray, but just wiped in. It's not like puddled. Once it's in there and I get the CV back on the shaft, I take the 164 in the caulking gun, and then I just kind of take the CV and angle it and start pumping all the holes filled. And I just sit there and work it around and work it around. So I add Bel-Ray to the 164, but I don't do it in a 50-50 mix. What I do is I line this with the Bel-Ray and then put the 164 on top of it. That's how I prep my CVs. If you pay me to do yours, I will more than likely be doing it that way unless you're over 600 horsepower at the wheels. And then we'll be doing Swepco normal grease. I think it's 101 with 50-50 mixture of Bel-Ray, and that's mainly because of the horsepower. You kind of have to. But you also, on those cars, have to prep those CVs more than once a year. You're not supposed to run them all season long. So if you have any questions, give me a call. This is Ron with Sandcar Services, and I'm going to get back to putting his CVs together, because so far he looks like there's nothing needs to be replaced this time. Just need to do a grease, freshen up, and put it back together. Thanks for watching.